Welcome to Unicorns Talk Podcast, your weekly girl talk about Black women, our healing, and manifestation. My name is Latrice Sampson Richards, your life enhancement coach, and together we're going to live, laugh, and learn to love all of life's little messes. While I am a licensed clinician, please keep in mind that this show is not a substitute for your own relationship with a mental health provider. Let's go. Hey, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 45 of Unicorns Talk Podcast. My name is Latrice Sampson Richards, and by the time this actually airs, I'm going to be in the air on my way home to New Orleans. I am super excited about this trip home because it's the perfect balance of getting to spend time with my friends and family, but then also making connections for my business. My mother is equally excited for me to come home because the last time I came home, it was literally like for one day. And she was out of town that day at a church lady convention or whatever. And so she couldn't really, she didn't even get a chance to see me. And so I do have a few openings this weekend and over the next week or so to meet up with anybody who's interested in discussing like future collaborations or anybody that wants to work with me in a one-on-one type of setting. I'll be in New Orleans from September 19th until the 27th. So definitely reach out to me if you are so moved. But I'm also, just looking forward to spending time with my family. My mama gonna cook for me. Like that's one of the good things about coming home, like living away from home, is when you come home, they pretty much do whatever you ask them to do, because they're just so excited for you to be there. They're just happy for you to be there, So I'm going to get a chance to hook up with all of my homies or whatever. I already hollered at my friend Courtney. Hey, Co, I know you're listening or whatever. I can't wait to see you, girl. So it's going to be really good. Also, I'm going to be attending the Urban League of Greater New Orleans Young Professional monthly membership mixer. And I'm going to be a panelist for a discussion that they're going to be having around self-advocacy in healthcare, which is going to be really, really great. Of course, I'm going to be providing the mental health perspective, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's been a while since I've been home for a visit, like for real, where I can actually go see people and hang out and things like that. So I'm definitely going to try to see as many people as I can while I'm there. But if you're listening and you the homie or whatever, you might have to come see me, because I don't have no car. I'm going to be using my mother's car here and there or whatever, but, don't be afraid to come see you, girl. Come holler at you, girl. I don't live in the area, so if you want to see me, you got to make a way to come see me maybe, So anyway, also, I'm going to be traveling to Atlanta in a few weeks, which I'm super excited about. As y'all know, I'm going to be doing a live recording of the show at a Pod Connection ATL podcasting conference. There's an entire week of events planned for guests and attendees, and it's going to be a great time had by all, or like as the kids say, it's going to be lit or whatever. Yes, I just said that, and no, I don't know why, but it is what it is. But anyway, there's a meet and greet on that Friday, October 5th, which is going to be at Match Bamboo Lounge. It's free to register, so y'all make sure you do that. It's really a chance for me to meet y'all, love on y'all, and just kind of kick it like in a relaxed setting, which we all need that. I'm also going to have some merch available at the meet and greet, so you'll have a chance to get some of that as well. I have these super cute shirts, y'all, they are so cute. I'm going to just, post them real soon, I promise, but they are super cute. So definitely come and get you some merch and just come say, hey, girl, or whatever, and hang out, spend some time, maybe have a few drinks or whatever. And let's hang out, I'm super excited about doing this show, doing the live version of this show, or the live recording rather. It's going to be amazing. And I'm really looking forward to seeing all of you there. It's not too late to get your tickets. Just go to apodconnectionatl.splashthat.com unicornstalkpod.com and use the coupon code Unicorns Talk to get $5 off your ticket. Now, I was contemplating whether or not I wanted to do a giveaway. I have one ticket that I can make available as a giveaway. I know that, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to go ahead and do the giveaway. There's one ticket available that I'm going to give away to one lucky listener. You have to follow Unicorns Talk Podcast on Instagram. It's at Unicorns Talk Pod. You also have to follow a Pod Connection ATL on Instagram at a Pod Connection ATL. Okay, and then I want you to, I don't know what we're gonna say. I don't know. I've been going back and forth about whether or not I was gonna do this. Oh, I forgot to put my phone on silent, y'all. I apologize. I had been going back and forth about whether or not I was gonna do this, so I didn't really have anything in particular planned out. But I'm gonna say shoot me an email once you follow myself, at Unicorns Talk Pod, and you also follow a Pod Connection ATL, then I want you to shoot me an email at unicornstalkpod at latricesampsonrichards.com and let me know what you enjoy about the show. Okay. The first person who does all three of those things, follow Unicorns Talk Pod on Instagram at Unicorns Talk Pod, follows a Pod Connection ATL on Instagram at a Pod Connection ATL, and shoot me an email letting me know what your favorite thing is about the podcast, about Unicorns Talk Podcast. And you send that email to Unicorns Talk Pod at latricesampsonrichards.com, and you got to do that by Friday of this week. And the first person to make that happen, you get a free ticket to attend a Pod Connection ATL in Atlanta, October 6th, 2018, but the 5th through the 7th, really, 2018. And I'll throw in a t-shirt too. We'll do a t-shirt as well. All right. So let's make that happen. If you haven't already, please be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or anywhere that you're listening right now. You can use hashtag Unicorns Talk Pod across all of your social media to let me know that you're listening. Make sure that you share it on your stories, on your timeline. Feel free to tag me directly at Latrice Sampson Richards, or you can tag the show at Unicorns Talk Pod so I can see it, and I'm absolutely going to repost it and give you a special shout out on the next week's show. All right. Okay. So let's get into this topic. This week, I am treating you all to a really special interview. I'm sure you remember the viral story that came out around, it was kind of like the end of May, early June of 2018 of this year, about a nursing student in New Orleans that was forced to withdraw because of her hair. That student's name is Jade Payadue. I had a chance to sit down with Jade and talk about her experiences. These days, Jade is a photographer and the owner of Moments by Jade Photography. She's born and raised in Marrero, Louisiana, but she currently resides in Harvey, Louisiana, with her husband and her two beautiful children. Jade formerly attended University of Holy Cross, where she was a nursing student until her natural hair and voice for fair treatment and accountability ultimately led to her forced withdrawal from the university. She's now using her story to speak out about the respectability politics aimed at hindering the progression of those in the Black community. I'm so happy to have Jade here with me today. We're going to be talking about Black women and the policing of our Blackness. So we're talking about policing our bodies, policing our hair, policing our voices. Jade, I cannot wait to hear what you have to say about the whole situation with Serena Williams and everything going on. And Jade is also going to talk to us a little bit about her own experience of policing for being Black, right? And so welcome so much. Welcome so much. God, who says that? What is that? Thank you so much, Jade, for agreeing to be on the show today, and welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
And so I think, Jade, I would like for us to get started with you talking about your experience with Holy Cross. What happened? Some of my listeners may have already heard this story. It's been covered nationwide, but I want to hear from your own voice. What happened with Holy Cross?
Um, Basically, the short end of it is I was a student at Holy Cross starting in 2014, and I was accepted into their nursing program last summer. And beginning in the spring semester, we started preparing to go into the clinical setting, and we were wearing uniforms. And the first day that we wore our uniforms, we were going to have uniform inspections. And that day, I was told my hair was too big, it was not neat, and I should either straighten it or cut it because they liked how I had it the week before when I had my hair straightened. And from that day, anytime I was in uniform, I was told my hair was not appropriate, and if I continued to wear my hair in that manner, I would be penalized in my grade.
Now,
Um,
let me ask you a question really quickly. Who told you that? Was it because I know you said you were going into clinicals, and I think that, I was reading some of the comments and things online and some of the stories, and there was a little bit of confusion about who provided that directive. Was that a directive directly from the university, or was that a directive from your clinical location or whatever you call it?
was from the university. The head of the nursing program is Dr. Proctor, and she specifically told me I needed to cut my hair more or straighten it because they liked how it was. The head of the course, the nursing courses, Miss Angolio, she said it as well. And my clinical instructor, after an exam, uh, the day of our white coat ceremony, she actually told me it was too big, and she patted my hair down like I was a puppy. And keep in mind, all of this was occurring, and I was defending myself because they said it was too big. When I was aware of the rules, I had actually cut my hair the summer before the semester before I entered the nursing school because I knew the rules and I knew that I would not have easily been able to manipulate my hair to meet the standards because I had very long hair. So I made it a point to continuously measure my hair before going into classes with my uniform on because I knew what the rule was and I didn't want to cause any problems. So all of these superiors of mine are telling me, superiors from the university, telling me that my hair didn't meet the standards. Once I went into the clinical setting, I read the rules for them, and their rules were completely different from the university. They did not have the same um, there was a measurement. The university said they could not be bigger than 4 inches. The hospitals don't have those rules. I've checked several of the hospitals that the university uses for clinical rotations, and none of them had those rules.
So one of the things that I read when I was first became aware of your story, one of the articles that I read, or I guess a statement from the university, was basically like, "Well, we're just doing this because in the workplace setting, this is what they're going to have to do, and so our rules are based on what the rules are in the field." And so what you're saying though is that those are not the rules in the field; that those are the rules at the university only.
Correct. I
Yeah.
checked several of the hospitals. I checked. My husband actually works in healthcare. I have friends who are in some of the hospitals, so I was able to get my hands on the handbooks for those hospitals, and none of them match the university policy. None of them come remotely near those rules.
Do those excuse me, not universities, do those hospitals, do they have rules specifically related to hair?
Their rules state the hair must not impede and it must not interfere with your vision and it must be maintained. That's basically as deep as they go in when it comes to the hair standards. They want it clean and they don't want it in your face.
Yeah, so no like 4 inches, like those detailed rules that Holy Cross has.
No.
Okay. Okay, so you make it through you said you made it to the white coat ceremony, which I'm not very, I mean, I know about the white coat ceremony, but I don't really know, all of the steps to get to that place. But I would assume you made it through clinicals. Is that accurate?
No, actually, the white coat ceremony happens right before you go into clinicals, where you're
Okay.
presented with your white coat that you're gonna wear in your clinicals. It's basically another step in celebration that you've
Okay.
gotten this far. I was actually only allowed to participate in one clinical day.
And what happened?
Um, the week before clinicals started, I was pulled into a meeting. This was one of several meetings where I was pulled in with the head of the program, Dr. Proctor, the head of the nursing courses, and this particular meeting, I also had my nursing instructor. Um, I was pulled into this meeting, and um, they told me, well, first of all, they made me leave all of my things outside of the room. I couldn't even bring a piece of paper to keep notes. They told me if I that I had exhibited a pattern of behavior, and it was not professional. And this pattern of behavior was basically me being upset when they've been pulling me aside, harassing me about my hair. And they said that if I didn't sign this contract, which put me on probation, that I wouldn't be allowed to participate in clinicals. So I wasn't allowed to have a copy of the documents that they made me sign. I wasn't allowed to take it and read over it, and digest it and sign it and bring it back. They told me I had to sign it right then and there, or would not be allowed to go to clinicals the next day. So I signed it. I wrote on each place that I had to sign that I did not agree with the document. I was given an assignment where I was told I had to take responsibility for all of the things that they perceived me to have done, which were disobeying the rules of the university. They wanted me to quote the textbook, saying what I did wrong and how I was going to fix what I did wrong. What I did for the assignment was I quoted their textbook. I used citations. I did everything I was supposed to do, and I said what they did wrong and how they needed to fix it. So I turned that in, and the day that I turned that in, I also submitted a formal complaint to the university regarding what they were doing to me. And after I submitted that complaint, I was pulled into another meeting, and I was asked what I wanted to happen with going forward. And basically, it boiled down to a fake investigation as to what happened, and them telling me I had two options. I needed to withdraw from the university or take blame for everything they did to me and not speak about it.
It seems to me that there was some retaliatory practices taking place, right? Like you filed a complaint, and after filing the complaint, you were basically given the ultimatum, either conform and do what we've told you to do, even though you are within the ranks, right? Because excuse me, you are within the 4 inches. Like you took the measures that you needed to take in order to be able to comply with the rules. Yes, you cut your hair, right? Like,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
So it's not like, I think that's one of the things that a lot of people don't understand is that you cut your hair. So they said your hair was too long, you cut your hair in preparation for that. So to make sure that your hair was within the right length. The issue, it sounds like to me, was really that they didn't like the way your hair looked, in its natural state, and they wanted you to tame it, for lack of a better word, right? And so it seems like when you filed your complaint, it kind of pissed them off, and that's what made them give you that ultimatum. And so where do things stand right now with between yourself and the university? Did they address it any further? Because the press release that I read a couple months ago, from the university, it was like zero fucks given. You know what I'm saying? So where do things stand right now? How long ago was that, and where do things stand right now?
Right now, I'm no longer a student there. They haven't accepted any responsibility for their wrongdoing, and it's going to basically boil down to a lawsuit. I'm going to sue them because I want to be reimbursed for courses that I paid for, where I was basically being harassed and lost time. I technically have lost a year But if you think about it, I've lost four because the whole time I was at Holy Cross, I was preparing to enter their nursing department, their nursing school.
Mm-hmm.
And to be completely honest, the 4 years I was there, they had different rules based on what student they were speaking to. I took every single non-nursing course before I got into the nursing school. I did that because my advisor told me if I didn't, I would not be accepted into the program, which was untrue because I was in nursing classes with other students who were taking non-nursing courses that were required to graduate.
Mm.
And I spoke to several other minority students who said the same thing. They were told if they didn't finish those classes, they would not be admitted into the nursing program. So basically, I wasted 4 years taking all of these other courses in, pre- in preparation to be accepted into the nursing program. So I've lost 4 years of my life.
Yeah.
And yes, those courses can be applied to a biology degree, which I plan to pursue. But this last year of nursing classes, my fall semester, those classes are down the drain. Spring semester, I was forced to withdraw, so I don't even have credits for those. So it's gonna end up with me suing them for reimbursing for the classes that I had to take.
And so the decision to go public, because you kind of went viral, girl. When I was transparency moment. I am really good friends with Jade's family, and so when I saw Trey posted the article, I was like, Jade, I remembered you. I know it took you a little while to remember me, but Jade was always the little cousin, and so I always remembered you because I always thought you were so cute, and so I always remembered you. And so when he posted it, I was like, Jade, Jade. So I read the article and then I saw it on the Root, I saw it on the Griot, I saw it, like in all of these different places, like I think Madame Noir did Madame Noir do something on you also?
Yes.
Yeah, like I saw it come up in all of these different places, and everybody kind of, in terms of black news media, really picked up on it. And talked about, even Teen Vogue talked about your story. How did you make the decision to go public? Like what prompt you to say, you know what, this is something that I'm experiencing, and I'm not going to let them get away with it. I'm going to go public with what happened.
Well, I actually decided that I was gonna go public with it before I was even forced to withdraw. um, because I knew what they did wasn't right. I'd spoken to several other students who went through it, and what they did, what they were told, even though it wasn't fair, just so they could get through the nursing program. And I couldn't do that. I couldn't let them continue to get away with the unfair treatment. And I knew I needed to speak out about it if there was going to be some type of change. But I didn't expect the feelings I would feel once I was forced to withdraw. I was really depressed about it. It took me a long time to get through that and be able to speak about it without getting upset. So I took some time for myself. I got myself emotionally okay to speak about it, and then I decided, well, today's the day. It's time. Even if it doesn't change anything, at least people will know what they're doing, and maybe it will deter some other minority student from applying to this nursing program and having to go through what I went through. That's what made me do it.
Yeah, you talked about having some negative feelings and like going through depression and things. What specifically were those negative feelings and that depression around? What caused you to feel that way?
Um, it was really about not only the time I spent working toward this goal. I planned on being a nurse for so long, and that finish line was taken from me. My children, they knew what I was in school for. They were so proud of me, and now I'd gone from working toward this goal, them seeing me sit at the table 12 hours a day studying, to not having anything, and being told that the way I look naturally is not good enough, and the way I look naturally is not professional, and it's not safe, and it's not good enough. And on top of that, I have really bad anxiety, and it got worse dealing with that situation, and I just it was a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I definitely understand that. Like um I wanted to have you on the show today because I wanted to talk about uh this whole idea of respectability politics and the policing of our bodies as Black women, because it happens all the time. And so, you know, for you to really express these negative feelings, the depression and things like that, as a result of basically being told that who you are is too much. Like who you are, I'm not going to say is not enough, because it's not that it's not enough. It's who you are is too much, and it's threatening to people who are not enough. And so that's something that I feel like as Black women, we hear that all day, every day. We hear that in the news media. We hear that in the print media. We see that in the print media. It's like everywhere that you turn, that's the message that's being given to us, is that you need to straighten your hair, you need to tame your hair, you need to tame your booty, like don't have your booty all over the place. Don't wear your clothes too tight, but don't wear your clothes too fitted. Like we're always constantly being policed. And I feel like it's more than just, because we are women. I think it's specifically because we are Black women, because as Black women, we extra, you know.
Mhm.
And that's just what it is. God made us extra, extra, extra everything, extra voluptuous, extra charismatic, extra personality, extra hair. We are a lot of things. And so I wanted us to have this conversation today because I feel like, you talked about the other women in the program, the other Black women in the program who also experienced the things that you experienced, but they, rather than fighting, they just conformed, because they either, they just trying to put their heads down and get finished, or they knew it wasn't fair, but they just conformed because that's what they're used to doing. And so to have, I think, I'll say the tenacity, the strength, the audacity, to really fight back and say, like, not this Black girl, like, this is not happening. I think that that's an awesome and amazing thing. At the end of the day, what is it that you hope to accomplish by, putting your story out there, by, pursuing the lawsuit that you're going to be pursuing with the university? What is it that you're hoping to accomplish on a local level, but then also in terms of helping the culture in general?
At one point it was more. I wanted to accomplish changing the rules in these universities, not just universities, workplaces, and primary schools, because little girls are being told every day, and adults are being told every day that the way that they are naturally is not acceptable for the workplace or for the educational setting. And my initial goal was to have those rules changed. But now I want us to stop making it okay for that to happen. Right now, Black people have become part of the problem without even realizing it, because I was told. I was told I should have just done it. I should have straightened my hair, or I should have worn it differently. I should have cut it more. It's just hair. That's part of the problem.
Mm,
It's not okay to be told that my hair is inappropriate when it is. There's nothing wrong with it.
mhm.
But for my own people to tell me that I should have conformed and bent to those rules is part of the problem. And I want us to realize that and stop policing each other. We're constantly telling each other, okay, we're making Black people look bad by being ourselves.
Yeah. I agree. I agree 100%. When I first started doing my locks, a lot of people had concerns about whether or not my locks would be perceived as professional. And in my mind, I'm like, why would it not be considered professional? I make the locks professional. The locks don't make me professional. The way I wear my hair is what makes my hair professional. Who I am in my hair is what makes my hair professional. It's not the other way around. But that I think it's just one small piece of the overall struggle that we have as Black women in particular, trying to do life, here in America. Because I'm not saying in other parts of the world that this is not an issue at all. I know that there are issues in terms of Black women and just Black bodies being policed all over the world. I'm not ignorant to that, but in America, it's a special brand of it's a special brand of discrimination. I really do believe that, uh, because it's so deeply ingrained in our culture. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is a part of the fabric of America, so much so that those people that was telling you, well, you should just do what they ask you to do. They really, I mean, some of them probably came from a shitty place, like some of them was probably like, girl, you stupid. You need to, you need to this. But some of those people, I'm sure, genuinely thought that they were helping you. Some of those people were genuinely like, look, girl, you just got to do what you got to do to get by, and like, coaching you to try to help you more so than to shame you, guilt you, or ridicule you. And those are the people, honestly, that I feel the most sympathy for, I guess, or yeah, sympathy is the word that I want to use, because mentally you're in a place where you've bought into whatever the idea of normal is. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've bought into the respectability politics, and the need to conform in order to live a happy life. But why can't I live a happy life being who I am? Like, that's insane to me. It really is.
And anytime I was in these situations, if I showed any type of emotion, which was mainly me being upset because it was an intimidating situation and I felt attacked, so I would sometimes get upset about it. I was always told I was angry. And I feel that if I were of a different race, I wouldn't have been called angry. I would just been, oh, she's showing some emotions. They always tell us to you're supposed to be aware of your own emotions and your own feelings about things so that you can be receptive to that of others. And we were taught that in school. Yet, my showing any form of emotion and being upset or having, if my face turned red because I am fair skinned, if I get upset, my face turns red. If I dropped any tears, I was called angry, which of course upset me even more. But that's that angry Black woman stereotype, and I feel that definitely is being displayed over the news right now when it comes to Serena Williams. I think the situation is absolutely disgusting with what they've done to her because, as usual, not only women but women of color are not treated fairly across the board, especially in sports, apparently.
Let's talk about the situation with Serena Williams. For anybody who doesn't know already, I mean, like, have you really been under the rock? I need you to come from under the rock. You know what I'm saying? But for anybody who doesn't know, last weekend, Serena Williams was playing, I think it was the US Open or something like that. And, she was just coming off the heels of the whole controversy with the French Open about her cat suit, which was a compression suit that Nike designed for her to combat her blood clots that she developed during her pregnancy. So the French Open president made this big announcement that the cat suit would no longer be appropriate and that it was disrespectful, which is, the policing of her body. She can't help it that she got ass for days and thighs and things like that. Like, that's not her fault. You know what I'm saying? You need to talk to God about that, because that's how he made her, all healthy and fine and stallion like, right? But so there's the policing of her body in that moment, in that experience, and being told that showing her body in a cat suit was inappropriate and disrespectful, even, just for being built the way that she's built. And then the following week to go to the US Open and have her voice policed as well. It was kind of like a double whammy, that she received. She got into it with the umpire because he was being ridiculously strict, and he basically he dinged her. Now, I don't really understand tennis, like talking about, but he took some points off for her or something for for uh called for he said that she was being coached, right? So he
Mhm.
said that she was being coached, and so he took some points off of her score for being coached, and she took that as him calling her a liar, or like saying that she was cheating, and she took major offense to the idea or the notion of her cheating, which I think is understandable because your name is all you have. And so when somebody says that you are a cheater or a liar or something like that, then that calls your character into question, which was the argument that she was making, right? And so she went on, she was pissed about it. You could see that she was pissed about it, understandably so. She, I think, was trying to be as professional as she could, but she demanded an apology from him, and he refused to issue her an apology. And so she called him a thief because she said he stole a point from her by taking that point from her by, saying that she received coaching, which was against the rules. And once she did that, he took a game point from her or something like that. He penalized her for basically berating or being disrespectful toward him, which I think at the end of the day amounts to unsportsmanlike conduct. And so which ultimately, I'm not going to say it caused her to lose the game, because the other girl was actually holding her own, like considering that she was playing Serena Williams, like she was holding her own. She wasn't like getting skull dragged. It wasn't like Serena losing those points or whatever, like gave her the win or anything like that. That girl worked hard for that win. But it definitely tainted her win, because if you're going to beat Serena Williams, you need to beat Serena Williams, outright. And you don't want to, I would imagine that you don't want to have any question around whether or not you beat her because you were better than her on that day, or if you beat her because of whatever the other shit that she had going on. And so, Serena, so this weekend, it really started the conversation around the policing of women in general, like you said, but specifically the policing of Black women and the policing of our voices. You said, Jade, you said that when you experienced your discrimination or experienced discrimination at Holy Cross College, and you verbalized that you were displeased with what was going on, what was being said to you, and things like that. And you said that like they told you that you were angry for showing that emotion about the situation. So when we talk about the policing of women and the policing of Black women in specific, we run into this often where confronting that policing is held against us. And like you said, we're labeled as being the angry Black woman. So, what are we to do in terms of fighting back against that, or like confronting that, and continuing to have our voices heard?
Um, I think navigating that is very difficult. I don't necessarily know how we can fix the stereotype and allow our voices to be heard without being angry. But I just know right now and throughout history, we've if we did not remain incredibly happy and cheerful at all times, we are angry. We're not allowed to display any range of human emotions. We're not allowed to verbalize our feelings or our view of our mistreatment. I don't I don't have the means to the end for it. I just know that continuously we will have to speak out and share the injustices that we're encountering, as well as continue to let our voices be heard. Whether we're labeled as angry, we have the right to be angry. If I'm upset and you want to call me angry, you're wrong, but I have the right to be angry. I have the right to be upset. I have the right to feel whatever it is I'm feeling.
Right,
Serena Williams had every right to defend herself. She wasn't cheating. She couldn't even see her coach in that instance. Her coach admitted, yes, he was coaching her, but she couldn't see him. He was wrong. He should have been penalized, not her.
right,
And for her to defend herself,
If she got angry, that's her right. She's not the first person to get angry on a tennis court. She's not the first person to defend herself. She's not the first person to get show any range of emotions on that court. There have been instances where tennis players have bashed their rackets and carried on for longer times than she did. Yet we have overshadowed Naomi Osaka's win with this situation because people want to blow it out of proportion. She had the right to defend herself. She's penalized for something that was natural to happen. She wasn't wrong.
Yeah, I agree. It brought to mind my own experience, the first experience that I could think of I think when I was aware of my policing or having been policed, I was working for, it was my first job fresh out of grad school. I was working at the boys' jail down in New Orleans, Bridge City Center for Youth. And I remember that we used to have like an on call rotational schedule where we would have to, everybody would take a turn being on suicide call, like on call for suicide watch. So if there was a ruckus or something that happened at the facility and it was related to mental health, it didn't matter what time of the day it was. They literally had a beeper and they would call us and we would have to come out and see what was going on. So this one particular night I was on call and I had to come out because this one of the kids at the facility, he said that he was suicidal and he wanted to kill himself and I had to come and assess the situation and everything like that. Now, let me say this. A lot of times the kids would sometimes use that as an excuse to get out of the dorms because when you go on suicide watch, you get one-on-one treatment. Now, I'm not saying that, I always took suicide ideations or suicidal ideation seriously. You always want to take suicidal ideation seriously. But my job was to assess the situation and to understand what was going on, like in reality, and not just take what the kid was saying at face value. So, long story short, I came in. There was a male nurse who had been at the facility for a while, and I was fresh out of grad school. This young Black girl. I wasn't even licensed yet. I was still working toward my licensure. And so I was on call and I made the decision to put the child on suicide watch. And the male nurse, did not agree with my decision. And so I was like, okay, that's duly noted. I hear what you're saying or whatever, but this is what we're going to do. So what we're going to do is A, then B, then C, right? I laid it out to him very clearly. And he continued to go back and forth with me for about 10 minutes, which when you are in the middle of handling a suicide watch situation, 10 minutes is a long damn time. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So we went back and forth, and I just kept reiterating to him, what we're going to do is A, then B, then C. Well, I don't think we should do that, and this, that, and the other. He even went so far as to go above my head and call the on-call psychiatrist in order to get to tell the psychiatrist about the situation and try to get the psychiatrist to do what he wanted to do. So I spoke to the psychiatrist. I told him what my clinical decision was, what my clinical understanding was of the situation, why I made the decision that I made. And the psychiatrist was like, all right, it sounds like you got this under control. So it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Don't call me no more. You know what I'm saying? So I hung up the phone and I looked him in his eyes, directly in his eyes, and I said, so what we're going to do is A, then B, then C. Thank you. And he, at that point, he had to do what I told him to do, but he made it very clear that he wasn't pleased about having to do that. And I made it very clear that I gave zero fucks about the fact that he felt the way that he felt, because in that moment he was challenging my authority, he was challenging my knowledge base, he was challenging my ability to handle that situation. And I know that he would not have done that if I were not a young Black woman and he were not a white man. You know what I'm saying? I know that that would not have happened that way. It's no way. It's no way. Okay. And so that was my experience, my first time really being aware of like what that policing is and what that policing like looks like in reality, and it's a sobering thought. It's a sobering, you know, it's sobering, just period, to understand that you are being scrutinized just for existing in your skin. You have to be better. You have to think ahead. You have to be 2 to 3 steps ahead at all times. Like it's tiring, to say the least. So how did you, as you were going through your process of, dealing with the policing of your hair and like going to the meetings and things, and I know that they were pretending to be respectful, but you can feel it. You know what I'm saying? You can feel when you're being taken seriously and when you're not being taken seriously. How did you prepare yourself to go into those spaces to continue to fight for what you believe was the right thing, even when you knew that how you were being perceived, and you knew that maybe in some instances you were not necessarily being taken seriously?
Well, the first thing I had to do was tell myself that the problem was theirs, not mine. So that helped me go in knowing that, not questioning if what I was doing was the right thing to do. In the beginning, I spoke to a couple of Black women who were ahead of me in the program and had natural hair, and I asked them what they did, and they they said, "Well, they're never going to let you be right, even though you are. So you really just need to go in there and don't say anything. Just nod your head, take it for what it is, do what they want you to do, and get finished with the program." So hearing that, I could have done two things, one of two things. I could have done that, gone in there, said, "Okay, yes, 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 I'll do what you want me to do," and just been depressed the rest of the program. Or I could go in and say, "Well, I needed to defend myself because I didn't want anybody else to go through what I was going through." So that's what I did. I spoke my truth. I was respectful when I did it, and um, ultimately, yes, that led to me being forced out of the program. But I know that my voice was heard, and I didn't just sit and swallow what was being thrown at me. And I think that's part of what we need to do. I think that every day women are being treated this way because we are told, just do what they want you to do what they're asking you to do, shut your mouth and take it. You need to be quiet. Don't tell them they're wrong, even if they are. And that's the problem. We are continuously allowing the cycle, and I can't do that. I wouldn't do that. And that's my truth. That's how I did it. And I encourage anyone else to do that the same. Just like we had the situation here in a local situation where a girl, Faith Kennedy, was attending Christ the King school in New Orleans, and
Mm.
she was sent home because she had braids in her hair with fake hair. And according to their hair policy, they're not allowed to have extensions or false hair in their hair. And it's not that her hair was huge or a distraction. She literally had braids. And they sent this child home because it was not her hair. I'm glad they went to the news. I'm glad this school is exposed. This is what we need to have happen continuously, because for years they've been doing this. This is nothing new. But now we have social media and we have things going viral, and these people are being exposed for the the racists that they are. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. The rules are racist and targeting of Black women. This is what's been going on. I mean, we always tell our children, you have to be better, you have to be stronger, you have to be smarter, you have to be 3 steps ahead. And then we get out in this world and they don't want us to succeed. You are not allowed to know more than them. You are not allowed to be smarter. Like, if you are, you're arrogant, you're full of yourself. Like, I'm I just the situation you went through is the same thing that so many women are going through every single day. And I don't know. It's just, we got to fix this. We can't fix it. We got to stop this.
Yeah, well, and I think a part of the way that we do fix it on a collective, kind of like a meta level, is that we continue to show up and be unapologetic. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how we fix this, because if we never force them to get comfortable with us and all of our crown and all of our glory and all of our thick thighs, big lips, curly hair, glory and awesomeness, then they're never going to learn how to do it, you know? And so we have to not shy away from putting ourselves in those spaces. We have to not regulate ourselves, because what happens is, we start to regulate ourselves. We start to
Yep.
police each other so that we can be a part of, the greater societal expectation or experience. You know what I'm saying? Like this respectability politics. Like we start to police each other on behalf of them. Don't make a spectacle of yourself. Don't do
Mm-hmm.
this. Don't do that. Why you got to do all of this? Why you got to do all that? Because that's what the fuck I felt like doing. That's why.
Exactly.
Because that's what the fuck I felt like doing. Like, yes, there needs to be tact. Like, yes, there's a time and a place for everything. But at the same time, I need to be able to feel comfortable with showing up as is in any space. And I have really learned how to be able to do that. And to be honest, like I was talking about on last week's episode, I was talking about how I was at the the Women of Color Empowerment Conference, and I had to really check myself and check my own biases around putting myself in spaces surrounded by Black women, because of my own biases and things like that, and if anything, I'm more uncomfortable sometimes when I'm around groups of us than I am when I'm around mixed company. And I think it's because of the policing that we do to ourselves and the
Mm-hmm.
policing that we do to each other, trying to fit the mold of what the other people want us to be or think that we should be. So I think the way that we combat that is to keep showing up in our true, authentic way and force them to deal with it. If you don't like it, turn the other damn way,
Mm-hmm.
or get with the program. But what you're not going to do is be disrespectful to me. What you're not going to do is discredit me. And what you're not going to do is treat me as if I am less than because you have a superiority complex, So yeah.
We have for so long been told that we need to show up and perform and not show our authentic selves, and to the point where we have digested that and we continue the cycle and continue to encourage that behavior. And actually this conversation has made me think about this book I read by Dr. Joy DeGroy. It's called
Oh,
Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome. Have you
girl,
read it?
don't get me started, girl. Don't get me started, because that's like, yes, have I read it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I have. I
Yeah.
have read it. I actually did an entire speech about that book at the Louisiana Mental Health Counselors Association luncheon a couple years ago,
Wow.
and baby, they was not pleased with that. But you know
Of
what?
course.
It is what it is.
I recommend anybody. I recommend everyone to read that. I mean, it helped me realize so many things that have been rooted in us for years, and it's not something that we willingly do at this point. It's just it's been ingrained in us. That's how we have to survive, and we need to acknowledge that this is happening, and we need to find a way to remove it from ourselves. And it starts with people like you being yourself unapologetically when you show up anywhere you go. So
Right. Absolutely. And what was the outcome of that situation? Because I did see that that made national headlines as well. What was the outcome of that situation, or has there been an outcome?
I know she hired a lawyer. They hired a lawyer. I don't think that it's been resolved yet. They I know they sent her home. I don't think I don't honestly have the resolution of what happened with the situation. I did see her lawyers on television saying they were going to fight the decision of the school. But in my opinion, fight the decision, make them change their rules, but don't send your daughter back there. Don't give them the
Yeah.
satisfaction in giving them your money. But yeah.
Yeah, because Christ the King is expensive, girl. That's a
Hmm.
Catholic school, that's very expensive in the area. So yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I definitely applaud your tenacity in terms of dealing with this. You said before that people was like, well, why you don't just, cut your hair? Why you don't just do what the people told you to do? And at the end of the day, I can do that, but I can't do that at the same time, right? Because it's like, if I do that, then what happens to the next black girl that comes in here that's, wanting to be a nurse, and they are picking on them? Like, it doesn't change if nobody stands up and says this shit is not okay. This shit needs to change. And so I applaud you for having the tenacity to really, think beyond yourself and to withstand um all of the backlash, the frustration, the inconvenience to your life. Because I mean, this is nursing school. This is something that you really, really wanted. And I know you were saying that this experience kind of changed the way that you felt about the profession and felt about the industry and things like that. Like, so you had to like grieve all of those things. Like, it was a part of your journey. And now, um, your journey has completely been changed as a result of this experience, and yet you're still fighting for, equal rights for black women. You're still fighting for women to have a voice. You're still being a role model and an example for your daughter and for your son on how you should be, or what it looks like to not think about yourself but to really be hashtag for the culture. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
yeah. And so I definitely applaud you for that. And thank you so much for taking the time out to come on my show and have this conversation with me about your own experiences and about just the policing of black women and our voices and our bodies in general, and also for fighting the good fight.
And thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me share my story, and thank you for your part in helping keep the dialogue alive. Because without conversations like this, things will never change, because women will continue to let it happen because they want to get through it, or they want to keep their job. And this is necessary, and I definitely appreciate the part you are playing in it.
Absolutely, girl. We are the world, girl. We are the
Yes.
children. We are the people that's got to make it right. So let's start doing. I feel like I just
Hmm.
told my age, like for real, for real. But I don't care. Ain't no shame over here. It is what it is, I suppose.
Right.
All right, Jade. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I hope you all enjoyed listening to that conversation as much as I enjoyed having it. Jade is such an amazing woman, and she's really trying her best to do her part in healing our community. And I, for one, really appreciate her efforts. You can reach out to Jade if you're interested in working with her in her photography business, or just to discuss her experiences more in depth by following her on Facebook at Jade Monique, on IG or Instagram at Jade Truly, JADETRULY, or on Twitter at Jade_Truly with the double Y. So that's JADE_TRULYY. Okay. Again, thank you so much to Jade for just being awesome and freaking amazing, and beautiful. I always thought Jade was so pretty. And she really has grown into being a phenomenal woman, and I'm so proud of her. Like I said, she's always been a little cousin, and just to see her as a grown woman really like doing her part to heal our community, it's just I love it. I love it. So y'all holla at Jade and make sure you send her your support. Okay. All right. Coming up next is High Five. So this week's high five goes to hashtag yacht shit. Listen, okay? For the second year in a row, I think it's the second year. I want to say it's the second year, but for the second year in a row, Issa Rae, star of HBO's Insecure, awkward black girl, just all around freaking awesome and fucking amazing, dripping with black girl magic and all kind of other crazy shit. Like Issa Rae is the business. Like I seriously have a girl crush on her. Y'all already know that. You know what I'm saying? But she hosted a Emmys yacht party for Black Hollywood, and as usual, this party did not disappoint, I think is the word that I'm looking for. It was star studded. It was, black film stars, black television stars, black internet stars, and the people behind the scenes who make everything happen. And this is my second time this episode saying this word, y'all. I feel like it's becoming a part of my vocabulary or whatever, but it was lit. It was lit. Listen, Tiffany Haddish was there, Tracy Ellis Ross was there, Lil Rel was there, who I actually watched his new show. He has a new show on Fox, and I think it's called like Rel or something like that. I watched the first episode of his show. It was decent. You know what I'm saying? Yvonne Orji was there, Amanda Seales, Natasha Rothwell, like pretty much the whole Insecure crew was there. But then also, people who are not on the show. Like it was just all of Black Hollywood. Amanda Seales posted on Instagram. And listen, they blew up Instagram with this whole situation. You know what I'm saying? Amanda Seales posted on Instagram. And one of the things that really stood out to me that she said was, it's such a blessing to be able to have a community within this community, Black Hollywood is growing, and they are definitely, as my mama would say, kicking ass and taking names. You know what I'm saying? But I love to see the community that they have with each other, supporting each other, uplifting each other. I really love to see that off the screen just as much as we see it on screen. Some of my favorite moments from like the Instagram stories and things like that, they did a swag surf, y'all, and like a real life swag surf on like a yacht. Like that's so black, and I live. Okay? Like I live. Like for real, for real. Like a swag surf is the quintessential like we black and we getting it and we celebrating something. Let's do a swag surf. You know what I'm saying? So I was really, really excited to see the swag surf. They had alcohol, they had booty popping, they was just having a good ass, black ass, good ass time. There was a photo of Yvonne Orji, Tracy Ellis Ross, Tiffany Haddish, and Issa Rae, and they were all like, lined up or whatever. And that picture was like, it was giving me high school dance vibes. Like you remember when you and your girls used to go to the little party, go to the little dance at the school. If you grew up in a black Catholic church like me, then it was at the little dance in the cafeteria at the church. But we ain't gonna talk about all of that. You know what I'm saying? But y'all know my peoples, they know. So you go to the little dance or whatever, and they got the photographer, and y'all like, yeah, we look cute tonight or whatever. We gonna, we look cute. The dudes is on us. We fly, all of that, all of that. Let's take a pic. Like that's what that picture felt like. It felt like four just homegirls who on top of their game, and they were having a good time, and you can like really actually let your hair down and not have to worry about, like who's around and who gonna say this and who gonna think that, and shit like that. Like it was everything. It really was. So high five to Issa Rae and her yacht shit party. I live for moments like that, and I'm glad that they are living their lives and enjoying this moment. I'm a very big proponent of living in the moment, being present as you move through your journey and celebrating those moments. And I love it. I love it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So high five to hashtag yacht shit. I'm gonna do a P roll shit. Yeah, I know I'm from Louisiana, so if you don't know what a P-roll is, then I need you to ask Google. But we're gonna do. We ain't on yacht shit level yet, but we could do, like some canoe shit. You know what I'm saying? I could do some canoe shit. We gonna see. I'm gonna holler at my people. We gonna maybe try to put together some hashtag canoe shit. You know what I'm saying? You gotta start small. You gotta start somewhere or whatever. So that's my high five for today. Reality check is I'm going to do a really brief recap. I finally got caught up on Insecure. Since we talking about Issa Rae, you know what I'm saying? I finally got caught up on the last 3 episodes of Insecure, and they were really good. A common theme, because I mean it's 3 episodes, so I'm not going to go through each of those episodes right now in this moment. But what I will say is that I really enjoy the fact that like we are seeing these characters kind of grow up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like they're going through these growing pains. That doesn't mean that they make good decisions necessarily, but they are striving to make better decisions. And I love that we get an opportunity to see that. A couple weeks ago, I was a guest on the Awakened Soul podcast with CEO Hayes. Hey, shout out to Hayes. And we talked about, like love and hip hop and all of this, black reality television and the image that they're portraying. And the thing that I was saying, to Hayes is that I don't necessarily mind. I mean, it's not for me, it's not my brand of entertainment or whatever, but they speak to a particular audience. And it has been very frustrating that I don't think that a lot of effort over the years has been put into speaking to other demographics. Black women, we are so freaking awesome and amazing, but we are all so different, like we're not just any one thing. We are a lot of different things. And I just didn't feel like there was a lot of television options for those of us who do not resonate with, like the love and hip hop stuff or whatever. Like I know it's entertainment for some people, but it's not my thing. I don't get into it. And so I appreciate that Insecure is one of those kind of shows that it shows us a whole lot of people like Kelly. Like, listen, I know Kelly. I mean, I don't know that Kelly, but I know Kelly. Like, who doesn't know a Kelly? You know what I'm saying? Like when Kelly got tased, I was like, I know Kelly. Like this is a black woman that exists in my circle that I went to college with. That like I can identify with that character. I know who that character is in real life. I don't know Evelyn. You know what I'm saying? Like I like Evelyn. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know Evelyn. I don't know a Evelyn character in real life, in my everyday life. So I really appreciate how Issa Rae and Insecure, they give us these characters that have complex lives, that are making, complex decisions, and they give it to us with humor in a way that is palatable. That is definitely, I feel like the epitome of art imitating life. And I really, really appreciate that. I like that they have this common theme going on this season of vulnerability. We're seeing Issa definitely open up more. We're seeing Molly really, come to terms with what vulnerability looks like for her. Because the reality is that vulnerability is not going to look the same for everybody, right? For Molly, her struggle in this moment is being vulnerable with herself, right? So she can't even wrap her mind around the idea of being vulnerable or being open with other people, like really allowing herself to be seen, because she doesn't even she doesn't even see herself. She's not even being vulnerable with herself. So I love how they're playing with this concept of vulnerability, and they are allowing us to see these different levels and varying levels of what it means and what it looks like to be vulnerable and to grow through your process. And so I really, really appreciate that. I love that Issa has this new relationship going on, and they've made it very, very clear the difference between her past relationships and this current relationship. I love how supportive he is of her. I love how he's a number one cheerleader of hers. I love how, he's always encouraging her and things like that. I don't know he a little MIA right now. You know what I'm saying? I don't really know what's going on with that. And I have mixed emotions about that. I'm gonna see where that goes. But in general, I like the relationship that she has with Nathan. I like how he gets her. She allowed herself to be vulnerable with him, like telling him about Mirror Bay. You know what I'm saying? Or Mirror Bitch. What she call her? Mirror Bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love that she shared that with him, and she's never shared that with any other guy, right? Because I like everybody has those things about themselves that they don't share in relationships that other people don't really know about. I mean, I know I do, and I know I'm not the only one. There's things that my husband knows about me that no other human being, not my mama, not my daddy, not my sister, not my ex, not no other human being knows. He's literally the only person that I've ever shared some things with. Things that I've been carrying around with me my whole life, or parts or aspects of myself that nobody else really knows, right? And that vulnerability allows me to be able to grow and to be able to flourish. And so I'm glad that Issa has found somebody that she can be vulnerable with, or at least to be able to start the process of identifying people who are more readily available for her to be able to be vulnerable with. Because the guys that she was dating before, they wasn't capable of showing up for her and allowing her to be vulnerable. So I love Insecure. I've caught up on these episodes and they have been very, very good. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next. I really want to know what's going on with Nathan. Like, where you at though? Like, I don't understand what happened to Nathan. So we're gonna see what happens with that. But that's your reality check for today. Just a quick little Insecure wrap up. I also got caught up on Love Is over on OWN, and I think I'm going to do an entire episode on Love Is, though, because I have thoughts, okay? I definitely have thoughts. Anyway, moving on. I just want to give a few shout outs. I want to definitely give a shout out to Stephanie, the life architect. Stephanie is the co host of Not Your Mama's podcast, which is a freaking awesome and amazing podcast. I really, really love it. But she just started a new podcast called I Said No with Stephanie, the life architect, in which she creates which she created to activate, renew, and celebrate your freedom and her own. And so the podcast is really good, y'all. Stephanie is going to be at a Pod Connection. She's not going to be performing her show live, but she is going to be at a Pod Connection. And I cannot freaking wait to meet Stephanie face to face. Like, you know how you meet people and you, like, in your head, you're like, man, I feel like, if I would love to just sit down and talk to this person for a certain amount of time, or like to have some drinks with this person, or to roll a gar or something with this person. Like, this would be a really good conversation. Like, that's how I feel about Stephanie. I think that we definitely have complementary energies, and I can't wait to meet her and talk to her and just like get to know her and develop that relationship. I'm looking forward to that. That's like I think that's going to be a highlight of my experience in Atlanta in a couple weeks. I also want to give a shout out to Jaden Hollywood. Hey, Jaden. Hey, boo. Jaden is the host of Unapologetic Podcast, which y'all know I love freaking Unapologetic Podcast. If you're not listening to Unapologetic, you need to get your whole life together. Jaden is also going to be one of the co-hosts of A Pod Connection. And so this will be me and Jaden's first time meeting face to face, and I'm really looking forward to that as well. Also, shout out to Nicole Empress Nick Banks. Nicole is the founder of A Pod Connection Network. She, like, the whole event, like all of it, this is Nicole's doing. So shout out to Nicole for making that happen, and for having that vision, and for having just the tenacity to like bring this vision into fruition. I definitely see that she is trying to grow this thing, and I'm excited to be able to be a part of it. And Nicole is also going to be a co-host along with Jaden for the conference. So I'm looking forward to that. I also want to give a shout out to Trust Village, which is my Facebook group. We have surpassed 1,000 members. So I want to give a shout out to all 1,000 of my villagers out there. I fucking love y'all. And I really want y'all to know, trust, and understand that I love y'all. I'm rooting for y'all. And I am so appreciative of having the opportunity to participate in your journey. Thank you. Thank you for giving me a chance to help guide you into the next phase and the next chapter of your life. We are just getting started. I am celebrating 1,000 members. Look, the goal was to get to 1,000 by the end of the year. We got to 1,000 before the end of the quarter. You know what I'm saying? And so we are celebrating. I already told the ladies about that celebration. I'm giving away some Trust Village swag, which I love Trust Village swag. Like, it's fucking amazing or whatever. So anyway, but I want to give a shout out to all of my villagers. And then lastly, I want to give a shout out to the Read podcast and the Friend Zone podcast, because they have really been putting out some quality programming over the last few weeks. I've been finally able to catch up on all of my episodes. I had gotten like 5 episodes behind on each of them. So I've finally been able to catch up on all of my episodes, and they have really been putting out some quality content. Y'all check them out. What I really love, I specifically want to give a shout out to Crystal and Hey Friend Hey, because those two women have inspired me in this podcasting world like you would not believe. They are so awesome and amazing. I love how they put themselves on display. They share of themselves, and it's obvious that they are genuinely interested in helping our community. You know what I'm saying? They do it in their own way. They both have their own style. They both have their own way of doing things, but it accomplishes the same goal. And I appreciate that. I am deeply inspired by them in terms of like moving into the world of creating. And I just want to give a shout out to them for real, for real. Okay. And don't forget that I have partnered with Talkspace online therapy platform as a provider for the state of Louisiana. Talkspace makes therapy convenient and attainable for those who don't have time to leave work and go to an office. Now you can reach out to your therapist any time of the day or night and inside your secure online therapy room and share things when they're still fresh on your mind. I absolutely love the Talkspace platform. It's easy to use, and I love being able to send voice notes and video messages to my clients to communicate with them more in depth. I love that my clients have the freedom to talk to me whenever they need to vent, whenever they need to purge. I love that my clients can listen to my show. I have multiple clients that listen to my show, which is always like mind blowing to me that in the middle of a session, my client will reference the show, like that they listen to the podcast and things like that. Like that's really freaking like cool to me. So anyway, right now I can only work with people who live in the state of Louisiana because that is where I am licensed. I'm working on getting licensed in other states, but currently that is where I am licensed. So in the state of Louisiana, or if you live outside of the country. So I can also work with people in other countries. Okay. So if you live anywhere in the state of Louisiana or outside of the United States and you're interested in working with me, you can join Talkspace and ask for me by name. But even if you're not in Louisiana, check it out and find an amazing licensed therapist in your state. Just make sure you let them know I sent you. Talkspace is therapy for how you live. All right. Get your tickets to see me perform Unicorns Talk podcast live at a Pod Connection ATL on Saturday, October 6th. The events are from that Friday to that Sunday, the 5th through the 7th. Tickets are $25, but you can use my special code Unicorns Talk, all caps, 2 words, to get $5 off. Head on over to a Pod Connection ATL.splashthat.com and register for the meet and greet on Friday when you purchase your ticket. Don't forget, I am giving away 1 free ticket to 1 lucky listener. You have to follow me on Instagram, or follow the show rather on Instagram at Unicorns Talk Pod. Follow the podcast conference at a Pod Connection ATL on Instagram, and then shoot me an email and let me know your favorite thing about the show. Okay. And you can email me at unicornstalkpod@latricesampsonrichards.com. All of that information is going to be in the show notes, so you can check that out. Okay. Make sure you register for my free Empower Your Vision Masterclass. You can head over to the website and do that, and join my free Facebook group, Trust Village, a safe space for healing and manifestation. Follow me on all the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Unicorns Talk Pod. And you can follow me directly on Facebook and Instagram at Latrice Sampson Richards, or on Twitter at L Sam Richards. Okay? I love y'all. That's all I got for y'all today. I love y'all and I appreciate y'all. And until next time, be well. Bye, y'all.